again because of the digital disruption that is actually taking place. And the new way of doing science is going to be very different. For example, we have a program called Open Source Drug Discovery, OSDD, which was set up by Samir Brahmachari, a genius, who actually followed me as DG CSIR. 36 nations and around 7,800 people are participating on this open source drug discovery. 50% of them are undergraduate students, by the way. Can you imagine in drug discovery, you are getting sort of these people involved. So what happens is that the power of the new medium is that the collective intelligence, not just one, is actually being used. And this program was for, by the way, drug discovery in tuberculosis, because that is very important for us. And new lead has come out of this work, which is in phase 2 clinical trial today. So it's a completely different way of doing it, not in a multinational company where there are some very expensive 100 scientists who are putting in millions of dollars in working, but the digital medium allows you to get that collective intelligence, including that of students, basically to create something that is completely new. And then comes Industry 4.0. I don't have to talk about that. What was Industry 1.0? The steam engines and so on and so forth. Then came electricity, assembly lines, that was 2.0. Then came 3.0, as we all know, with ICT coming in. And now 4.0, with cyber physical systems basically coming up. And people are already looking at Industry 5.0. So therefore, the biggest challenge, Manishji, is the following. Like the university, the United States Ministry of Labor, Department of Labor, said, looking at the senior school students, by the way, that almost 60% of them will be taking up jobs which do not exist today. So what is our challenge? To prepare students for jobs that do not exist today. So how do we handle that? It's going to be an extraordinarily challenging word, by the way, so as to say. So I wanted to set the stage by just saying that it's not the change, it's not the rate of change, it is the rate of change that is going to make a difference. And it is like this, the car that is following you is closer to you than you think. Similarly, future is closer to you than you think. Look at the exponential technologies that you have. Internet of Things, big data analytics, virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality, blockchain is the latest kid on the block, and so on and so forth, 3D printing, a range of other things, artificial intelligence, advanced robotics, automation, and so on and so forth. Now these are actually disrupting everything. And why do I use the word exponential? Because in performance, they are growing exponentially, and the costs are reducing exponentially. I just saw a study, just 7 years, by the way, 2007 to 13. If you just look at sensors, the number of sensors have gone up by 1,000, their size has gone down by 1,000, their costs have gone down by 1,000, and the power consumption has gone down by 1,000. So I'm talking about 1,000 in 7 years. That is the exponential part. So if things are going so exponential, and then how do you deal with this exponential future? I think these are the new challenges that we have to have. So we'll have to put a delete button on lots of things that we were doing in the past, by the way. Because in this new world, if you don't follow new paths, you will not reach the destination. Because if you follow the old paths, where will you be basically going? So I think there is a deep churning now all around the world in this. Take artificial intelligence, for example. What is happening is, what was being done by brawn, muscle, is all being taken over by machines, robots, for example. What is being done by brain is being taken over by AI, artificial intelligence. So people say, oh, you are exaggerating and so on and so forth. No, I'm sorry. World Economic Forum had done a report where they said that an AI machine will become the member of the board of directors in 2025. Right?
Yes.
You know what has happened? Already, there is a company in Hong Kong who has made AI machine a member of the board of directors with voting rights as far as investments are concerned. And the way machine learning, deep learning is changing is amazing. There is a game called Go, you know, the Chinese game, which is supposed to be most difficult. Less on, the world champion was beaten year before last by AlphaGo, an AI machine. So what's great in it? That way Gary Kasparov was also beaten, 1997, you will remember, the IBM machine and so on. But what is different this time is that what AlphaGo in game 2, move 37 has done, the experts say there is 1 in 10,000 chance that a human will do it. That's the way things are actually basically moving. You know, and AI is penetrating everything. You know, I sit on the Reliance board. We just now had a stake, taken a stake in a AI platform for educational technology. Imbibe, $180 million will be invested over the next 3 years. And it does individualized, personalized learning, by the way, adjusting to your thing, etc. And we want to take it to 1 million tools, free, by the way, completely sort of free. These tools, basically. Because previously, everything was all bulk, but now you can go individually, because God has not made us all equal, by the way. Our capacity to observe, analyze, synthesize actually has changed completely. So I wanted to do this setting of the new stage on the way the world is basically changing, and how do we actually sort of change that. Let me come to science technology. I'm delighted that we have set up this Center for Advanced Studies. And one of the things I want to tell you is that in a 1,000-mile journey, there are always first few steps, basically. We are taking the first few steps. And then we'll always say our budget is 50 crore, oh, less than $10 million, etc., and so on and so forth. The size of the budget, the kind of facilities that you require, and so on and so forth. So I want to begin by sort of emphasizing that it is not the size of the budget that matters, it is the size of the idea that matters, basically. Then you will say you are making a statement, prove it. So I will prove it to you. Each statement that I make, I will prove it to you by evidence, by the way. I believe in the scientific way of doing things. So let me take you through a narrative in terms of where I began. I remember I was teaching in England, and it was 1975 when Dr. Naidumma, the then Director General, came to UK in London. And I got a telex message, telex at that time, there was no fax, no email, nothing, from Dr. B.D. Tilak, who was then the Director of National Chemical Laboratory, saying that you go and meet him in Savannah. The reason I'm telling you all this story is that despite no resource or limited resource, what you can achieve, basically, the power of idea. That is why I'm going through the narrative. And I'm going through my personal narrative so that it will be more believable. Otherwise, you can read textbooks and talk about others. I don't do that. I talk about my own book of life, basically. So I remember that, and he didn't say, Dr. Tilak, why I should meet him. But Dr. Tilak was my guru. He had taught me in UDCT, University Department of Chemical Technology. As you know, it is one of our finest institutions. It has become ICT, Institute of Chemical Technology. It's a university now. I happen to be its proud chancellor for the last 7 years. And I was very happy year before last, we were ranked number 2 after Indian Institute of Science, as you know. So that's a great institution. And I So Dr. Tilak said, you go and meet him, so I went and met him. When I entered his room, I did not know that I was going to commit to him that I'll come back. I had no thought at that time. I was comfortably settled, you know, the usual sort of your bungalow, your car, these, etc. And coming particularly from a very deprived childhood, you are in a comfort and so on and so forth. So he appealed to me. He said something very remarkable, Manishji. He said, I know that you will come when you are old, with children and so on and so forth, you know, when about to retire or after retirement. You are just 32, come now. Drop everything and come now. And then he painted a picture of the new India for me. And you know, my challenge is I don't think from here, I think from here. I said, done, I'll come. All right? And in the evening, I called Vaishali, my wife, by the way, basically. And she also said, no, if the nation is calling us, let's go. So when I came back, and I particularly want the young students to hear this, because you will not even realize what it was in 1976 when I came back. You know, as far as the laboratory was concerned, I remember I was trained in non-Newtonian fluid mechanics, rheology. So therefore I needed an equipment called Weisenberg rheogoniometer. I still remember it was model R18. It would take 2 years to get it. Digitally clearance, not manufactured in India, certificate, and so on and so forth. So I'll tell you what I did sort of after that. That was that condition.